ice training, please?
It was hot yesterday, and it was hot today, and guys are pushing through it, and it's the way they need to do. It's tough out there because we get a certain number of reps, and I think when the wet bulb gets above a certain number, around 84, 85, it's tough to sustain. But they pushed through. They had probably a better practice yesterday than today, but we'll clean a lot of things up from today and come back tomorrow and start to hone in on them. What's up? Any questions?
I know you just kind of, you got to go with wherever they schedule games or whatever. What are your thoughts on noon kickoffs? Is there anything you can appreciate about them as a coach?
Yeah, my family afterwards. I mean, I get to see them usually. We get more time with the recruits on the back end. The biggest thing is just the recovery for the players to me, because the next game is the most furthest off, and getting to go home and watch the night games with my kids and my wife is probably the most enjoyable thing for me.
Kirby, what has it been like watching Michael Barnett develop over your career? I know we had that little time in your first year he was working on offensive line. Just what has it been like watching him develop from then till now?
It's been a pleasure. He's a bright kid. He works his tail off. He took a role on the team. He played D-line most of the first year, and then he switched over to O-line that next spring. Didn't complain about it, and thought it would help our team. And then he moved back, and he just continued to work, and he's really helped us a lot. I mean, he's tough, and he played really hard, and he's high character.
2 games into the year, Mark is only 1 tackle off the tackles that he had last season. Can you kind of talk about the development from him overall from
Who's that?
Mark?
Or Webb?
Yep.
Yeah, he's playing. I mean, he's playing a lot more. He didn't play near as much last year. He played more towards the end of the year, and he played a little bit in dime. So, I mean, he gets an opportunity to play more, then he's going to get more tackles. He's bright, he's tough, he's fast, he covers well. He continues to improve. I think he's a guy that still has upside because he just didn't play defensive back his whole life. So he's still growing at the position, and his redeeming quality is he likes to tackle. In a day and age when guys don't love to tackle and hit, he does, and he plays with really good toughness.
What do you think his upside is exactly?
His upside meaning what?
I mean, like where he could grow the most.
From playing the ball in the air, recognizing formations, understanding leverage, what our coverages are, where his help is, those kind of things. I mean, the simplest thing to do is go play man, and he started out doing just that because it doesn't take as much to do that. But then when you start talking about combination coverages, you start talking about zone defenses, understanding what offenses are trying to do to you, he just doesn't have an awareness of that. He has now, but he's grown into it, where the first couple of years, that was a struggle.
Look at y'all's roster, and y'all have a few kids that have already graduated, decided to stick around. You got a lot of kids out there and that played a lot at their previous university, but they decided to move on for whatever reason. I mean, how I guess grateful are you that you do have those contributors that graduate, they're not looking for greener grass, and they stick around?
Oh, I think it's great. I think most of the guys that have graduated that are contributing to us are major players. I think the rule is a blessing because it allows someone to go after they finish their education to go play somewhere if they're not able to play where they're playing, or if they just want to change the scenery and they want to go play somewhere. And to me, that gives them an opportunity, and we've taken advantage of that from a standpoint of receiving them. We haven't had many leaves that have graduated because most of our guys that have graduated are playing for us.
Kirby, how much can Karras do in practice with that club on, and is he available this week? Or?
He's available, but I mean, I don't think we're going to put him out there with the club. It would be pretty one-dimensional. I mean, unless he's able to catch every ball with one hand. But he practices, he takes reps, he runs routes, he's catching punts, he's doing everything. But we're probably not going to use him until he's 100%.
What do you think it says about him that he's out there, practicing essentially with one hand?
Well, I mean, that's what all our guys do, right? Goody did the same thing. I mean, if you can practice, you practice. There's nothing wrong with legs. I think he needs conditioning. He needs mental reps. He loves it. I mean, he gets behind every play, and he runs the motion, he runs the route. And you're watching the tape last night of the play, and he's behind it, running it. But so are our quarterbacks. Juwan Mathis and Nathan are back behind it, taking the snap, dropping back, reading the defense. They're just 15 feet behind the play. So you got to get reps somehow, and we don't have enough time to have their own practices, so they have to get it within ours.
What's an update on, or is there an update on Tommy Bush and Tremel?
Tommy Bush is a couple weeks away. He's had some sports hernia, osteoarthritis, Can't even say the word. I won't even try to. He's got growing problems. So we're hoping to get him back, and don't know when. Trammell, hopefully get him back soon too. He's running and moving, and he may be cleared this weekend or maybe next week.
What are the biggest things you're looking to clean up this Saturday from this week of practice?
How long you got? I mean, we got penalties, we got substitution errors, we got critical eye violations, we got bus, we've got guys not moving good movements up front fast enough and understand what they're supposed to do. I mean, there's a lot of things to improve. We got guys missing assignments on special teams. We got to possess the ball on special teams and catch it in the air. Protection. I mean, there's a ton to clean up. I mean, anything that was a glaring mistake, we're trying to clean up, plus some.
Are some of your younger guys still getting used to the speed of the game, how fast they need to go to be successful?
Well, I mean, I think it's on a continuum because they're all. I mean, sometimes they see faster pace in the practice than they do in the game at times, depending on what's going on and where the game is. But those guys just need experience. They need reps. They need to get over the anxiety of playing in a game. A lot of guys got to the other day, but a lot of guys didn't play well. They got to play because they had nerves. I'm hoping the next time they go out there, they'll do better.
Kirby, I wanted to ask about analytics. I know that it's been famous in baseball since Moneyball. How much is it used in football? And it does seem you cite numbers a lot in studies and research you do on other teams and trends and such.
Yeah, we use it a lot from a perspective of game management, clock management, decision making, fourth downs, third downs. I mean, we use it a ton in that world, and that's usually based on who your opponent is more than anything. It's your style of play and your opponent's and what the percentages say the outcome of a situation will be and what their strengths are and what our weaknesses are. So we use a lot of analytics from that standpoint. As far as tendencies of the opponent, we have tons of breakdown on that, but that can change. You know, like team playing that maybe throwing it on every 3rd and 7 for the last 2 years. You know that there's against you, they may or may not do that depending on what we do. So much of it is controlled by our multiples and their multiples combining those. But we use a ton of analytics. We got people that come in and give us a breakdown and they read through it, and sometimes you use it, sometimes you don't, but it's there. We purchase it, we use it, a lot of analytics.
Is it a lot more available, prevalent in the last 5 to 10 years than it was 20?
Yeah, I don't even remember it 15, 20 years ago. There were some statistics of run pass percentage, but it's gotten so much more detailed of, what is this coach's likelihood to take the ball or defer coin toss. I mean, it's everything. So the more information you have, the more there is to look at. What does it all mean in a huge bucket? At the end of the day, you got to do what you feel is best to give your team a chance of success. But there's a lot more analytics involved than there's ever been.
We've heard a lot of coaches say that, like 4th and 1 or certain situations of the game, that decision on what you're going to do in that decision is made when you're doing the game plan because you don't want to make the emotional decision. How many decisions do you guys make based on those analytics before you even
A lot of them, but you can't say that what's happened in the game doesn't have an effect on that. So the decision is you like to make it beforehand that this situation I'm going to do this and we're going to do this, but at the end of the day, if you're not running the ball well or you've had 2 short yardages and you haven't done well like the Vanderbilt game, you can't say that doesn't impact your decision as you go forward. A lot of people would say the law of averages are if you haven't gotten them, then you're probably more apt to get it. But I think that it all depends on how you're playing. Are you getting movement up front or are you having success?
How conscientious are you of the scoreboard after last year's college football playoff selection committee outcome? Is that something that matters to you much?
It really doesn't. I don't pay attention to it. I get so entrenched in the game and the coaching of the players because I want the players that are in the game, whether we're up 1 point, down 10 points, or up 40 points, to feel the same intensity that the ones that are in during the beginning of the game to feel. And I don't get caught up in the scoreboard part because I just want the players that are in the game to have success, especially if the margin, one way or the other, up for us or down for us, is out of control. We're not going to ever stop coaching the kids that are in the game because they're all learning opportunities. And those kids want to play good just as much as the ones who played early in the game.
Coach, I don't know if you saw it last night on Monday Night Football, but the Broncos attempted a 64-yard field goal. Can you give us any idea of what yardage you're kind of looking at when you start to seriously consider sending out Rodrigo for a kick?
No, I didn't see that. I didn't realize that. I messaged something today about the kick last night and whether or not he thought he could make it, but no, I don't really delve out our yardages because it's a little bit more advantageous for the opponent to know that. So they know where your field goal line is, and then they defend the field goal line. And for us, we have a line every game based on the wind, the weather, his week of practice, but we don't really share it out.
Kirby, how do you feel like you might match up with what they do throwing the ball around with Bayless and Bonner and company?
How we're going to match up, we're going to find out. I mean, it's going to be a real test. They've got great wideouts. They've got wideouts at all positions, and they have tight ends, and they're really athletic, and they've given some people major problems with matchups. So I can't tell you how we're going to match up. I mean, I can tell you how we match up each day against our guys, but it's going to be interesting to see because they've got a guy that can spin it, and they've got guys on the perimeter that can catch it, and they have experience doing it in big games and in big stadiums.
The balance of running back in terms of, splitting and rotating carries, what do you made of how DeAndre Swift has played so far this year and fitting sort of that rotation?
He's done well. I mean, he's put up good numbers, right? And he didn't really have much of a rotation this past weekend. It didn't seem to me. I mean, I don't know how many carries did he have? 6 or 7. So, I mean, that was just the way the game went, and that was, we got up. Once we got up, we weren't going to sit there and let him carry it the whole time. So, the tale of two games, really. I mean, one game he needed to carry it more, and one game he didn't.
With havoc rates being such a big focus preseason, how have you felt about that through 2 games so far?
So first game and better the second game, but 2 different opponents.
Kirby, as long as you've been coaching, have you been a part of a staff where somebody had to cut away for a family issue like Blake did in terms of, I know you guys are so knows the grindstone and long hours. Do you guys, how much does that pop up where you like hey, go deal with that?
Yeah, it happens a bit. I mean, it's happened quite a bit. I mean, I've been on the staff where a coach has lost a parent, probably 6-7 times, and you got to go handle that. I mean, we're human, and a lot of coaches don't want to remove themselves and feel like they're letting people down, but they also don't want to have regret. And there's a lot more to life in football. And I think Blake's been a great example of that. I thought he handled it with such class. And, how anybody would handle that, I think each person's different. But I mean, Sam lost one of his parents one of the first years we were here. He got to go and spend time and take as much time as he needed to feel comfortable.
How's Charlton Ward worked out in the secondary? I know you've been working with him for a while now, but I'm just wondering what impact you've seen from him with your defensive backs this season.
He works really hard. He spends a lot of time with them. They come up there and meet extra whenever they get a chance, and he makes it fun for them to learn, and he educates them. He shows them why. He's really prepared in his meetings, and preaches toughness. All the values that we promote, relentless effort, the press man, the playing hard, all those matter to him. He's selling them on our program, our defense.
Did you talk to? Did you have a chance to talk to Mel Tucker since his game Saturday?
I talked to him after the first game, but I didn't talk to him after the last one. I sent him a congrats text.
Scott Fountain, you had, I guess, going into your 3rd year with him in some role on your staff. What, having seen him work special teams, I mean, what kind of asset has he been to you guys in that special teams role, in that 10th coach role?
He's passionate about teams. He loves special teams. He puts a lot of energy and effort into it. He preaches team to the units and how playing on special teams, you can have a career in that field alone, even if you're not getting what you want out of your position. And there's cases of guys in the NFL that are on a 53-man roster only because they're special teams. There's a lot of good position players that get cut because they can't play them. So he does a good job selling that to our players.
2 more questions.
Texas, or excuse me, LSU was talking about not having air conditioning in a game locker room. Is that something that happens more commonly than we're aware of? Can you think of a situation where your team had an adverse situation in facilities on the road?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some of the SEC facilities on the road. Y'all should go around and do a story on them because there's not very good locker rooms on the SEC and the road. They're mostly the old 60s and 70s home locker rooms from stadium to stadium. It'd be a nice little story, some of the places that I've been to, the dungeons you've been in, they're not high quality. And I'm not picking on other places because it's not very good here. I've been in the Vista one here. They're not very nice, and that's just the way it is. I mean, we had to walk a 2 block at Vanderbilt because of a situation occurred. So I mean, things happen and you deal with it.
Have you ever gotten the sense that some of the stuff that goes on in that way is a little bit of gamesmanship? I know like Iowa paints their locker room pink, stuff like that.
I never thought of it that way. There was a couple times we got stuck in a roadblock and couldn't get to the game on buses and thought we were going to have to get out and walk on I-85, but that frustrates you. There's not a lot you can do. There's some things you can control, some things you can't. So, thanks.